Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the Best of Plugin Roundup here for January through June of 2023 here on iThemes Training. Twice a year, we take a look at all the votes that came in from each of the month's plugin roundups for that 6-month period, and we take your votes and put a list together of the top 12, 14, 15 or so plugins that were voted by you to be your favorites for each of the months. If you're just joining us in Zoom, pop open the chat, say hi, tell us where you're logging in from today. Good to see folks from across the United States and around the world. The link for the plugin list, which is here, is also there in the chat. If you're watching this on the replay, you can just click the download handout button right below the video, and there you go. All right, y'all. So just as we always remind you at the beginning of these plugin roundups, these are plugins that have not been extensively tested by any means. Don't really have the time for that, but we do find them very interesting, very useful. So if you use any of these plugins, you want to certainly evaluate those for yourself as far as security, bugs, privacy issues, accessibility, et cetera, just to make sure it's a plugin that you'll want to use for whatever application you're going to use it. But these are ones that we found to be pretty interesting for you to take a look at and voted by you to be the best. So once again, if you're just joining us in Zoom, one more time, I'm going to drop the slide link in and we will get started. Okay, so rewinding all the way back to the first of the year, January 2023, we found this really cool plugin called Taxapress. So Taxapress is it's a full-featured tool to manage taxonomies and their terms within WordPress. And it's really, really excellent. Now, I actually found this plugin as part of a client project that I was working on. And I simply wanted something where I could just quickly bulk define a bunch of terms for an existing taxonomy. And it does that perfectly. And but it does so much more, enough that it was actually voted the favorite for the January webinar. This is perhaps one of the best full-featured plugins of any kind that's free. It's really, really pretty amazing. So let's go down here and activate Taxapress. And by the way, they have a very good stack of documentation for this as well. So let's activate Taxapress. And no, it does not do your taxes. Not that kind of tax. We're talking about taxonomies here. Okay, so Taxapress is now working, and you'll find a new menu item here on the side of the screen. Now, they've done a good job at splitting apart all of the different features of the plugin right here. So for what I did, basically, I just went in here to manage terms and just bulk added the list of all the terms that I wanted to add in just a comma separated list. And so if all you want to do, maybe you've got a site or you're importing some things or whatever, and you want to just define a whole bunch of taxonomy terms, you can just put them right there, hit the button, and it'll tell you, where do you want it to add and so forth. So it works out really, really well for that. But let's just take it from the top here and let me show you all the things it will do. So first of all, it's really handy. This is like, for example, if you are taking over a site, maybe it's a rescue site and you're just starting to manage it or whatever, and you just want to have an idea of what taxonomies are even defined on this site. If it's a really in-depth site, you just click that link right there and it shows you all the taxonomies that are defined in WordPress. It just gives you a nice list there and gives you the ability to edit those wherever they may be. It will also give you a list of all the terms and all the taxonomies that are defined across the entire site, which is also super helpful. If you just, do we have this term used already? Well, there's a list of all our terms. It will also give you the ability, this is maybe not as useful as the other features, but if you want to create a tag cloud with all the terms of a particular taxonomy, whether it's a hierarchical taxonomy like categories or a standard taxonomy, non-hierarchical like tags, this gives a short code to display all the terms that you define them. And you can stack these up, make a new display of, it's pro if you want to do more than one, but here's one. And let's say we want to display, all the terms from any of these taxonomies How do we want them to display? As a list, as an unordered list, or as a tag cloud? You can do that. It gives you some design options here and how you want them to display. Super powerful, just to display a list, for example. If you want to display an unordered list, bulleted list of all the terms in a taxonomy somewhere, this would let you do that. Right here, this has some options for the current post. So again, it's short code driven, but if you wanted to echo out on a particular post in any custom post type, what terms are defined or added to that post, this gives you a short code to do that. It also has its own built-in related posts feature. If you prefer to use this one, it would automatically select other posts from within the post type that share that taxonomy term. It does that. This is also one of the really cool features here of auto link. We've done some plugins like this recently where, you know, it would let you automatically create links. But in this case, what it's going to do is, you know, look within the post content, and I want to look for all of the tags that are defined on my site, or all the categories or product categories or whatever. And just, it will automatically, so if the tag term appears in the text, it would link that term over to that category archive page automatically. So that's really cool and very helpful. And there's some advanced features there. This is also pretty cool, this auto terms feature, where it will scan your content and suggest new terms, which is kind of nice. Mass editing terms we've gotten to, managing our terms. Oh, here's, like, for example, here's all of our posts on our site. And if we want to add tags to them, and you can select here, products, you know, what post type, and then, you know, what term type. Let's say we want to change up the categories on posts. Look, this shows you what the categories are, and you can, let's say this wants also to be legal for some reason. Whoops, need a comma. You can just bulk add all these terms at once and then update everything all at once. So it's really, really good, full featured approach to dealing with taxonomies on your website. And the documentation is excellent. So, you know, really good searchable knowledge base here. So that is Taxopress by Taxopress. Any questions or comments about this one? Really powerful plugin. You can see why it was voted the favorite back in January 2023. Good stuff. All right, moving. Oh, the pro version is available starting at $79 a year. Okay, another favorite from January was a plugin called Click Whale. Click Whale, which is a short link type plugin. And this is something that will allow you to create short links that forward to other places. Really good for like affiliate links, that sort of thing. It's really built for that. And yes, the redirection plugin that we love does that as well. But if all you are looking for is something that will manage affiliate links or create, you know, some basic link tracking inside WordPress, this is a great option. And by the way, there's another plugin just like this one that made the June list that we just reviewed last week. We'll talk about that right toward the end of this list. But Click Whale, and by the way, the plugin that we did last week, for those of you that were with us, is also very good. These are just slightly different approaches to creating these link shortening, you know, the short links for things like affiliate links like that. And depending on the features you want, one is going to be better than the other. So let's just activate Click Whale. We'll talk about the basic features and then show one thing that it does that the other one doesn't do. So activating Click Whale, and here is the, all right, so here's all the things. So this lets you create short links, as you would imagine. It's very simple. The title of the link, what the slug of the link is going to be, like that right there. Where does it go? What type of redirect is it? Is it a no follow? Is it a sponsored link, which is very important for affiliate links? And then give yourself a description of it. You can also create categories to keep your links more organized this way. So that's pretty cool. And so here's where you can set up categories like hosting affiliate links, plugin affiliate links, etc. Now, this also gives you the ability, I mean, I'm not sure why they included this in this plugin, but they let you do it. It also manages the addition of tracking codes like Google Analytics or social media pixels. It does that from within this plugin. I think that was new. They've added that since we reviewed it back in January. Not sure I'd use it for that, but it's certainly there. So here's our the global options. Like if we want all of our links by default to be 301 redirects, which we probably do, but you can change each individual one. This is just like the default settings. You can set all those up, and your tracking options, and then your link pages. Pretty cool. This also, here's where it gets a little different. This is the one feature of this plugin that is different than the others. And what this lets you do is create a link page, like Linktree. Are you familiar with Linktree? It's the sort of, you see these a lot on social media bios where, you're only allowed one URL, for example, in an Instagram profile. And so people will use that URL to put this list of other links that looks something like this. Right? Where you can have, your picture and change the colors like you want, and then make your own group of links right here. And it's actually very easy to create. And you can have multiple of these link pages, I believe. And we can just make that link page, whatever. We can put a logo in there. There's a little cat. Do we want to have any WordPress menus attached to that page? So let's just save this and get it set up. And here, look, we can do, is it a click whale link? Like, is it a link we've already defined? Or do I want to put a custom link over here? And I can just keep stacking these things up and just make my own link page. Pretty cool. So that is Click Whale. Works really well. It's free. Yeah, very, very powerful. That was back in January 2023. Any other questions or comments on Click Whale? All right, well, let's move along to the next one. I'm going to deactivate those two plugins. And scroll on down to another one starting in February of 2023. This was a popular one called Crop Express. Now, this is actually developed by a friend of mine named Corey Moss, who's done a number of different WordPress plugins. He's a really smart guy, great WordPress developer. And basically what he ran into is it's kind of hard to do cropping in WordPress, right? There's not a lot of features. And so he built this little plugin that really does some nice things. So let's activate Crop Express, and I'll show you what it does. So first of all, it does create a Gutenberg block. Got a page set up for this. Crop Express. All right. So we can grab the Crop Express block if we want, open it right here. We're going to choose an image. I had this problem the other day, and it's my site, and I don't know. It's not the plugin. It's something on WP Nathan. Yeah, something is no bueno. My goodness. All right, let's try this again. All right, so let's grab an image from the media library. It's just not going to open. All right, and that is my site, not this plugin. So what we'll do, let's just back up one, and I'll show you how it works on the featured image area. I was afraid that was going to happen because I hit that issue yesterday. We'll just open our featured image because we have some options in relation to the featured image as well. Okay, here's our featured image. Now with the plugin active, if we go to replace the image, we get a new dialog. So this plugin steps in and takes over the normal modal window that pops up when you do media. So let's just choose an image from the library. See, it works perfectly here. I'm not sure what's going on there. And let's just grab this Iron Man picture. Now, how do we want this? Do we want it square? Do we want it cropped this way or whatever? Let's do a circle and hit crop it. Look at this. Isn't that cool? Like you can drag this around. You can make it smaller if you want, and it zooms way in. Or we can zoom out. Isn't that neat? And, let's not do a circle. Let's make it a 16 by 9. Crop it. And we can make this just what we want it to be. And stay in aspect ratio. Maybe like that. And set the image. And it crops it. No, it doesn't only work in blocks like I was just showing you. It works with any featured image. And my block is for some reason having some sort of problem. So with this active, it takes over. I mean, just like you saw here, when you hit replace or remove the featured image, it takes over that process and brings up its own modal window instead of the standard add media window, modal window here. And I'm not sure what was going. Let's try it one more time with, but it basically gives you a block that does the same thing. It's like an image block, but it takes over the add media. I'm going to try this one more time just to see if it's going to cooperate. It's this site. It is not the plugin. Yeah, it's just not wanting to work. I don't know why. So the block on my site's having problems, but it works great for the featured image area. Pretty cool stuff. That is Crop Express by Crop Express. Any questions or comments on that one? Pretty powerful. I love the flow of being able to edit the image. Vern, does it make a second file in media? Yes. Matter of fact, if you look at right there, there's the brand new one. It was just created a minute ago. And so it made a brand new image. So it kept the old image. And here's one I made. I did a circle one when I was testing yesterday. Just a circle crop around the cat from this original image here. So it does duplicate the image so you don't lose the original image, which I think is probably the best behavior for this plugin. Any other questions on this one? Pretty good stuff. All right, another one from February. This was the big winner of February, is Sure Triggers from Sure Triggers. Now, this is another one of the Sure plugins that's a cooperative effort between Adam Preiser, who is a well-known YouTube personality in the WordPress space, and Sujay Pawar, who is the founder of Brainstorm Force, the company behind Astra and Ultimate Add-ons and all those plugins. And so they've developed a number. They get Sure Cart, Sure. There's a bunch of other Sure plugins that they've developed. Sure Triggers is like a WordPress-based Zapier. Now, there's a bunch of plugins that do this, like Uncanny Automator, and there's some other ones. This is probably the best WordPress-based automation tool that I've seen. And yeah, pretty doggone good. So let's activate Sure Triggers. Deactivate this plugin quickly first and activate Sure Triggers. Nope, they just dropped an update since yesterday. All righty. Okay, so the first thing you're going to have to do, and I already have this connected to my account, but the first thing you're going to have to do is just step through the process of creating an account on the Sure Triggers website. Now, usually we don't feature plugins that are simply a connector out to someplace else. This one is so cool, though, that we bent our normal rule for that because it's just really neat. So it's a simple process. You set up the account, it connects up, and you're good to go. And once you're in, you start by creating a workflow. And so if you're familiar with Zapier, it's sort of an if this happens, then do that sort of a situation. But you can chain together multiple actions after something has triggered this process. And so you have a bunch of different options. And actually, what I'm going to do is go out to the website and show you all the connectors. It's really hard to demo this without setting up a full chain, but look at what all it will do, what all it talks to. So you'll recognize immediately a lot of very familiar WordPress products here, like, well, here's like ActiveCampaign, Affiliate WP, Amelia, Asana, BadgeOS, BBPress, Beaver Builder. That's the Beaver Builder form. Elementor is in here too, the Elementor form. Talks to Book Like a Boss. I mean, look at all these. Buddy Boss, Calendly, Cart Flows. So lots and lots of, we're only down to F and there's still more, right? ClickUp, ConvertKit, Convert Pro, Elementor, EDD, Dropbox. You see all of these things. And so basically you could say, if I get a WooCommerce order, then I want to record that over in, over in Notion, right? Like I want to keep a customer list in Notion. Well, it'll do that. And you just set up the process to make that work. Does XML RPC? No, this does not have anything to do with XML RPC. This typically uses webhooks to make all these things happen. They've built in integrations with all of these. And so, yeah, it works really, really well. This is a new addition since we looked at it last. They have an OpenAI connector, which might be fun to play around with, actually. I'm not quite sure what it will do, but like here's RCP. I mean, let's just say, you have something that happens in WordPress and, somebody buys a product. Well, I want to give them a Restrict Content Pro membership level, and I want to automatically create an invoice for it in QuickBooks. That's pretty cool, right? I have a Zap set up right now so that when something sells, it automatically generates a QuickBook invoice for me with monster contracts. So it just saves time, right? So these are all the sorts of things you can do. And I'll just show you a very quick overview of building something. So what is the trigger? We're going to say, let's say it's I don't know. Let's just do core WordPress. A user logs into a site. Then I want to push that over to Notion, right? And you can like track a user log right there. Yes, the QuickBooks I was mentioning is only QuickBooks Online. Obviously, it can't talk to your desktop software, so it does have to be QuickBooks Online. But these are the sorts of things. If something happens here, then do something with it next. So if you're at all familiar with Zapier, this should be, it just makes sense because it works just like Zapier. They give you 20,000 free tasks out of the box, as I recall. Let's see. Here's some good examples. Add Calendly invitees to ConvertKit. Share Google form responses on Slack. Add new WooCommerce customers to Sendinblue. So many different things you can do here. So that is Sure Triggers. If you're doing any sort of automation, and by the way, if you get good at this, this is a wonderful thing to be able to sell to your clients to make their website fit better into their business flow. This is a great opportunity for consultation and upsell to create these sort of automations to make the client's life easier. So any other questions or comments about this? That is Sure Triggers from the Sure team. All right. Well, let's scroll down the list to StockPack. StockPack. Now, this is one we actually reviewed this several years ago, and it came up again in a conversation. And so we re-reviewed it because it's probably my favorite connector to outside free stock libraries. StockPack. There we go. So what this is going to do, if you ever have clients or yourself, you want to go look for free images, free blog post featured images over at Unsplash or Pixabay or Pexels, wouldn't it be nice to bring those things into WordPress? And there are a number of different plugins, like there's an official Pixabay plugin, official Unsplash plugin that connects that library into the WordPress media library. And of course, there's the Openverse library as well, that's connected into the images in core WordPress now. But let's say, what StockPack is going to do is give you the option to search multiple image libraries. So let's take a look here. We have activated StockPack. Let's look at our settings. Now, this is another plugin that does require a token to connect. And by the way, if any of y'all want to type that whole thing out, you can, but it's still missing about 5 characters on the other side there. So it's not going to work for you. Anyway, what this is going to do is What providers are we going to make available? Right now, I just have the 3 that are free, but take a look at these other options. Let's say you have a client that has an Adobe Stock license. Well, you can connect it to Adobe Stock or deposit photos if you have 1 million credits there like I do because of AppSumo deals, or Getty Images or iStock. This will connect even to those commercial sites, and you can have multiple providers available, which is kind of cool. So these are our basic settings. And now let's just go take a look. Let's add a quick new post and we'll show you how this looks. So when we go over in just a minute, our featured image will pop in over here. Let's say we go to add a featured image. Now look, we have a stock pack tab here. And so right now, we choose our, let's look for Unsplash. And what are we going to search for? Somebody give me something to look for here in the Unsplash library. Anything. A rhino. All right, so we're talking to Unsplash, and there's a bunch of options. Pretty nice. Oh, I don't like any of those. Let's check the Pexels library. Just simply changing the library just automatically runs your different search. Pixabay. All right, let's say we like this one. Let's download this so it brings it into our media library. And look, it puts automatically in all of the appropriate information. And we set our featured image. Boom. And it lives in our media library now. So very simple to do, very easy, particularly helpful if you have a client that's using Adobe Stock or one of those commercial stock libraries. This would let them search that. You do have to set that connection up for each individual site. And then, if they don't find something there, they can look at some of the free sites. Heather, what happens if this is used on multiple sites? So you would want to set up probably, you can set all the sites up under the same key, but probably it would be better to, have each client set up under a different account would be the simplest thing. But it works really, really well. Let's see, stock pack. I forget the, be helpful if I spelled that correctly. Stockpack.co. The free level gets you 50 requests per hour, right? So that's a lot. If they hit the credit limit on their account, Heather is asking, it's just going to stop until it recycles to the next one. Yeah. So I would set up a separate account for each client, or, just to avoid that happening, and just let the client know there's a limit to, 50 requests per hour. And that, like Rhino, we just took up 3 because we searched 3 different stock libraries. So that was 3. A typical user is not going to probably hit 50 in general, just in normal usage. All right, any other questions or comments on this one? That is Stock Pack, super helpful media library plugin. All right, next up, another one from March. March was a big month for us. It was one of the better Plugin Roundup months we've ever had. And another one we saw there was Pi Calendar. Now, I really, really like this plugin because WordPress calendar plugins can be really, really complicated. How many of you have run into that brick wall before, where even the best WordPress calendar plugins can be frustrating? They can have problems. What this does is, if you don't need all of the gigantic features that many of these full-featured WordPress calendar plugins offer, then if you just need a simple calendar, this is a really, really good option. So let's activate Pi Calendar, because what this is going to do, it's going to let you turn any page or any post into a calendar item. It's really, really cool. So let's activate Pi Calendar. And we have a couple of things set up here. So a couple of different pages pre-baked right here. the first is this event. Now, this is a page that we just simply called it Plugin Roundup Marathon. And notice over here, what this plugin does is add this little meta box over into the right sidebar of pages, posts, custom post types. And it's going to say, oh, do you want to make this a calendar item? Show this on the calendar. Yes. Is it an all-day event? Yes or no? Is it a, what's our start date and time and our end date and time? So you can set that. That's all you have to do. If you want to have, a register button, well, you just make that. If if you want a registration process, drop in a Gravity form on this page or whatever. If it's some, like a paid for registration, make it a payment form with a Gravity form or a WooCommerce product short code, something like that. It's just using standard WordPress pages, post, custom post types. Now, here's what it looks like on the calendar side. Now, here's this other page we just simply call Pi Calendar. There's a short code that says PiCal that just drop the calendar in there. So let's take a look at this calendar, and it's a very simple calendar. So there's our Plugin Roundup Marathon. We click it, and it gives us a little light box that has the post content summary. Here starts and ends. Click here to view the actual event page. There it is, where we can register. So it's very, very simple to use. And there's a number of different views, which, by the way, you can, within the short code, you can define which view it defaults to. If you just want a list, boom, there it is. Now, this is a recurring event. If we want this to be start date is tomorrow at 8 a.m. and the end date is tomorrow at, let's just say, 5 o'clock p.m. just so that it's not going to span multiple dates. We'll just update that. Take a look at the calendar. And now we just have it here on the one day. Look at that. Isn't that neat? Or if we want to view it on a list, it's a very simple calendar plugin. Billy's asking, does it work with the events calendar? No, it works in this. You would choose this if you wanted a more simple calendar on your site. It would be instead of. Events calendar is super broad, lots of features, lots of things. And if you just need a simple event calendar, this might be a little simpler to use. Heather is saying any integrations possible like Google. I mean, depends on what Google you're talking about exactly, Heather. But, it's a word. This PiCal is not going to integrate with anything. All PiCal does is let you say that this page, this post in a custom post type is going to go on a calendar. That's it. And whatever integrations that you use, just go on the page that you create. So it's a super flexible. You can use whatever you want. Embed a Google form. Embed YouTube. It's a post. Anything you can do on a post or a page, you can do, because it is literally a post or a page. The calendar thing only says we're going to add a date and a time to this, and we're going to stick it on a calendar. That's it. So very simple. It has a great use case in certain scenarios. Paul, after June 14th, your blog post will still be there, just not on the calendar. That is a great question. Let's see what happens with that. So let's make this, this was on Sunday, let's say. So it is a past event. My guess is it will still show up on the monthly calendar. Let's refresh. Yep, so it's still there. But if we go to a list, it's going to show up as a month list. So it's not going to fall off the calendar, in other words. If you want this page not to be viewed anymore after the event is over, then you would need something like Publish Press that would draft a post after a certain day and time to use alongside this. But this, again, this would be the case where you might want to move into a full featured events plugin like the events calendar. This is a very light plugin just to take page and post content and stick it in a calendar view. Any other questions, comments about this? It definitely has a use case. All right, scrolling on down, another one from March. This is the official Adobe embedded PDF viewer. Now, I'll tell you, viewing a PDF inside of WordPress is far more complicated than it should be, in my opinion. It just seems like you should be able to do that, and nothing's been able to just do that very easily until this. There's a bunch of PDF viewer plugins out there in the WordPress directory, and they're all the ones that I've seen are just kind of clunky and they're weird and they have problems. This one just works. It works really well, and it's from Adobe. So let's go out here and activate the Adobe PDF embed. Oh, it's already. Oh, I had to keep it active because if you deactivate it, you lose your API key. You do have to have the free Adobe API key. It's free, and you just click the link, drop in your API key, and you're done. Let's take a quick look at what it looks like. I have created a page in which this month's PDF appears. Isn't this nice? Okay, let's just start over again. Let's remove it. And all right, so here's our Adobe block. And yes, this is a block. It doesn't work outside of the block editor. We'll click this. And now we can either upload a PDF directly, or we can look for an existing PDF in our media library, which is what I'm going to do. So there's the handout for today. And we'll just hit select. Now, this is the default view where you can, oh, it just went away. There we go. Where you can page through it just like this, which is kind of nice. You can zoom in, you can make it full screen. There's also, and you can also, by the way, adjust the height and width, which is kind of cool. And there's other options here as well. There's a light box where you can click open and it will open up the PDF in a light box. There's an inline view where it just is straight down. So it's like you're scrolling through all the pages in the PDF one after another. That's nice in certain cases. There's also the full window, which is here with all of the options and sidebars of the PDF reader. And then there's a size container, which is what the default is. That's a little more compact. So looking at this on the front end of the site, looks really nice, and it's nicely responsive. So you can drop this in row layouts and so forth. You can click through your pagination. You can do a search. And it works quite well. When you get to responsive, yeah, it's going to fit inside your window. So that is the Adobe Embedded PDF Viewer. It does not have a flipbook mode. No, it does not. You can turn pages, but there's no flippity animation. Works fine on mobile. Accessibility, I don't know. You have to test it. I haven't tested it for accessibility. So this, the navigation here is accessible. I'm using my keyboard right now, but it doesn't look like I can interact with the content of the PDF. Any other questions about Adobe Embedded PDF Viewer that don't involve a flipbook, which some of you already know? Gets me on a bit of a soapbox about things you shouldn't ever use ever. Okay. All right, let's move to the next one. And that is, this is probably my favorite plugin in the Roundup. Maybe it's definitely one of them. Admin and Site Enhancements by Bowo. This plugin came up again in the admin bar several weeks ago. And this developer is actually in the admin bar, which is kind of cool. Anyway, we ran across this one and really, really liked it. I have, and it actually, in my description, this is the sinkiest kitchen sink admin plugin that I've found to date. So I usually shy away from these. And when I call a kitchen sink plugin, it means that they've thrown everything into this plugin but the kitchen sink, which is just if you're not in the US, that's just a phrase that we use for all of the things. And I usually shy away from these because it's like, why would you, this is like the developer put all of his cool code snippets into one plugin. And usually it's not great. This one is fantastic. And it gives you so many options. It's basically a library of code snippets that you can toggle on and off at will. So let us activate admin and site enhancements. And they dropped a new version since yesterday. Let's see what they did. Several fixes and a security issue. Okay, so it's under tools, as I recall, tools and enhancements. Another thing I really like about this is it doesn't get its own top level menu item. It is where it should be, under tools. So we open this up, and my goodness gracious, there are so many options here. So let's just start at the top. Look at all. So actually, a lot of these toggles are like other plugins that you might want to install instead, like content duplication. You don't have to install the duplicate post plugin if you simply toggle this on, because now you have the ability to just duplicate a post. Do I have to save? No, it's automatic. So right here under posts, I now have, whoop, thought I did. Oh, save changes. Yes, I did. There it is. Big blue button right at the top. Now I have the ability to simply duplicate right there. Boom, duplicate. So you don't have to install that plugin. It's all right here. Content ordering. So you can change the ordering of your content. Replacing media. So like that enable media replace plugin that I love, you could possibly get rid of it just by toggling this on. Allowing SVG upload. So you could get rid of that plugin. External permalinks. So changing automatically the rel equals no follow to external links. That's pretty cool. Open all external links in a new tab. Like there's plugins for this. You don't have to use it. Auto publish posts that have a missed schedule. That happens sometimes. We've actually had plugins on this roundup that do that. Of my goodness, like the post was supposed to publish and it missed it. And in the cron, it shows the missed schedule. This fixes that. Here in the admin interface, look at this, hide the admin notices. So all the garbage and hide that stuff. Make the admin menu wider. Look at this. This is kind of cool. Make your bar wider over here. Boom. The admin menu organizer to change the order of the items. Disabling dashboard widgets. Cleaning up various elements up here in the admin bar. Hiding the admin bar for some user roles. Log in, log out menu. I mean, so I have separate plugins for many of these, and this is all in one. And it's not going to bloat your website because none of this stuff works unless you toggle it on, which is kind of cool. Last login column for users, redirect after login and logout. Custom code. You want to add admin CSS? You can do that right here. It gives you a little window to do that. Custom front end CSS. You want things to go, this is like adding header footer type code right there. A custom body class, which is useful sometimes. Robots.txt, disabling components, disabling Gutenberg, block-based widgets, disable comments, disable REST, disable feeds, all that stuff. Some things for security, turning off XML RPC, getting rid of the author slugs, limiting login attempts, some optimizations here. This has an image optimizer. I'm not sure really how good that is. You'd have to test it. Revisions control, the WordPress heartbeat control, and then some additional utilities. A built-in post SMTP type function, having multiple user roles. View admin as role. So this is kind of nice to see what the admin pages look like as other roles. Password protecting the entire site, maintenance mode, and redirect all 404s to the homepage. So all that's in one plugin. Each one of those are like their own little separate plugin that are, just sort of, they are modular. You can just toggle them on and off. Vern, I don't know if he's documenting the original source of those. You'd have to take a look at it. Manu, is it more efficient plugin than the plugin you use? I don't know. I have not thoroughly tested this. It's one that now I'm seeing it again makes me want to go back and do some more thorough testing on. When this came up in April, we were super busy with client work, and I just didn't get into it very much. But this is going to make me want to go back and relook at some of these things. Billy, I have not used this on a live site, but I would not be opposed to it. I want to do a little bit more testing, but it's got a decent user base now. Yeah, he's got 2,000 plus users, so it's a pretty good user base, and it's being updated frequently. Heather, does it do white labeling? Not that I've seen, but it depends on what you mean. What do you want white labeled is the question, I guess. You want to just get rid of this, or like what do you want white labeled? Beth, does that duplicate work with custom posts? That's a good question. Content management, content duplication. I bet it would work with custom posts. Let's just check. Here's our custom post type. And yep, it works with custom posts. It also will likely work with WooCommerce products. Yep. It works with WooCommerce products as well. So pretty cool. All right. Heather's saying branding. Yeah. So what do you want it to, do you want to rebrand the name of the plugin? Is that what you're after? It doesn't do any white labeling, but it depends on what you want changed. But there's no settings in here for white labeling. Beth, does it work with the Learn Dash posts? I would imagine it would. It looks like it's working with every regular post type. And Learn Dash lessons and courses, those are all standard post types. Yeah, so give that a try. Heather, if you're looking for like branding for like the bottom of your site, maybe if that's what you mean? It doesn't do that. You'd need a code snippet for that. I don't think it does anything. I mean, you could use the admin CSS to add some branding. Oh, the whole backend? No, it doesn't do that. I see what you're saying. Yeah, there are plugins that do that. This doesn't do that. Any other questions or comments on that one? Really, really cool plugin. I like that. I like this one. Admin and site enhancements by Bowo. All right, next one up, April 2023. This is a simple plugin, but super helpful. This plugin simply turns a Yoast SEO FAQ block into an accordion. So this is something that, gosh, Ben, was it you? It was somebody actually was wondering about. And then we found a plugin that just did it, just coincidentally, recently, right after that. But let's go into, yeah, it was Ben. Or Ben, did you find this plugin, or did we find it and go, hey, look what we found? I can't remember. By default, Yoast SEO has a block. It is the Yoast SEO FAQ, and it just lets you, it's a very simple FAQ. And the reason you'd want to use this is it wraps the correct schema around the items and just makes it very Google friendly. But it's very, very simple. Like it's just a list of things on a page, just like this. And so it's kind of boring, and it would be nicer to have those in an accordion. So let's just activate this plugin. So we've already pre-baked, these two FAQ contents. And let's activate the plugin. And basically, it is going to add some code that rather than displaying all this text as a block, it's going to make it an expandable accordion. So plugin is activated. We're going to refresh the page, and now we have an accordion just like this. And so it is, by the way, accessible. See, I'm now tabbing through, and if I hit a button on my keyboard, it expands. So it's nicely accessible, and it just works. So if you're using the Yoast FAQ block, this is just, install, activate, boom, done. Now you have an accordion. And I like this better on an FAQ page than I would 8 million blocks of text like that. So that's it. Pretty straightforward, but powerful. Turn the Yoast SEO FAQ block into an accordion. Any other questions or comments on that one? All right, next up, moving into May 2023. This was this is, I would probably never use this plugin ever, but I think it just captivated the imaginations of all of us geezers that have been around the tech world for a long time and remember the good old days of MS-DOS and the DOS dialog boxes. And now there's a block that gives you that styling. And, you know, I would probably never use this on a site. I can't imagine a case where I would, but I just really like this plugin. So let's take a quick look at the DOS dialog block. It's just delightful. Here it is. So there's the block. This is just some text that we put in there, and it it gives us this font, and it looks just like this on a page, and it's not updating for some reason. Oh my. Here we go. That's how it looks, just like an old MS-DOS window. And these are all divs in text, so it does move to mobile nicely. Just crazy. So when you go to add another one of these blocks, MS-DOS dialog block, there's my title. And there's my text, just like that. You gotta love it. Oh, there you go. You can put your legal pages in a DOS box. How great is that? What a great idea. You could use it for, yeah, pre-coded stuff. That'd be interesting. I mean, this is it's a monospace type font. Yeah. Crazy. It does have some different styling over here. So there's the old blue classic DOS install dialog. It also has an error dialog. There you go. So probably the most useless plugin, but nevertheless interesting and gets my applause. The DOS dialog box by Dan Rusko. Thank you, Dan, for making us all smile. Any other questions or comments on this one? Yeah, it was actually the second highest voted in May. All right, scrolling on down the list to another one in May. This is, we've done plugins like this in the past, these file manager type plugins. This is one of the better ones. It's one, it's one that we haven't done one of these for a while, but this one we did because it works great. And it's by the Softaculous team. So if you've been in the cPanel world, you likely recognize the name Softaculous as one of the cPanel based app installers, like an app store for cPanel for various, you know, PHP type apps, including a WordPress installer that works really well. And so Softaculous has built this WordPress plugin. It's a file manager, and it's just basically like a Windows file manager or a Mac Finder for WordPress. So let's let's activate this. And there are definitely some downsides to this, but right here in the sidebar is the file organizer. So this is just like your classic, you know, let's dig into, you know, let's say we want to take a look at I should have done this. Let's take a look at our error logs. Whoops. Do I have any errors? Oh, no error log, really? On WP Nathan? That's unheard of. Check here. No error log. I must have just deleted those. Well, let's just say you needed to edit your WP config. I would never recommend doing this from inside of WordPress, but you can right here. We can just click text area, and that will open it up, and you can delete, cancel, save, you know, edit files right here. You can upload plugins from here if you needed to. WP content, plugins. You could right here upload files here, download files, delete things. If you wanted to grab a copy of a plugin, you can. Where is it? Where is the zip command? Oh, right there. Terrible icon. So you can create a zip file right here and download. Yeah, it's really cool. It also has a number of different themes. So if you are in dark mode, if you like a material, this is actually nicer. Like a material icons. I like this better. Material dark. There's some really nice things here. And also, if you're a Windows user, there's a Windows 10 interface as well that looks very similar to Windows File Manager. So the question is, does this work if you have the no file edit option? Yes, because what the no file edit option in iThemes security, or if you have that constant defined in your WP config, that is for this appearance and editor or plugins and editor where it lets you edit. That's core WordPress, but that has nothing to do with this. This is a whole separate plugin that embeds this file manager. Now, this is helpful if you have some urgent situation and you don't have FTP access to a client side or something like that. This will let you get in and tinker with things. This is not, and that's also a downside, because let's just say I accidentally don't add a semicolon on a PHP file I'm editing, or if I goof up something in the WP config and I get a white screen, I can't fix it because I'm locked out of WordPress and I can't see my file manager interface anymore. So it's, use with caution for sure, just like the WordPress based file editor. It's also potentially a security risk. So, if you can, by the way, here in the settings, you can, okay, right. Oh, you have to have the pro version. This has changed, I think, since the original time we reviewed this, because you can restrict this by role, but only in the pro version. I would not leave this on a site simply because if somebody were to get access to the WordPress site, my goodness, now they can put files everywhere. You cannot get below the public HTML is the root folder here, because this is a WordPress plugin, and that's the lowest folder that WordPress has access to. So you can't get up into the server folders underneath public HTML, but anything inside of public HTML is fair game. So I've used these plugins in the past in an emergency situation where I needed to upload a plugin or download something or something, I didn't have FTP access. They're very helpful in that scenario, but then you delete them right away. So this is probably my go-to one of these types of plugins now, File Organizer by Softaculous. Questions or comments on this one before we move on? All right. Moving into this month's plugins just from only a week ago, the top two from the June plugin roundup. First, the Snow Monkey Editor. Now, this one, if you're only if you're using the block editor will you like this one, but it adds some really nice features to the block editor that do not currently exist. So let's activate Snow Monkey Editor and take a quick look. It gives us some ability to it gives us some styling options in the block editor, which we just totally garbled this whole page up. But, it gives you the ability, for example, to create these little tag-based things there. So you can set your colors on these sorts of things, Snow Monkey, make it a badge. Boom. Really easily, you can change letter spacing all within the same paragraph or div. You can do underlines. You can set apart paragraphs with this option here of all these pre-built styling that are kind of nice. The other thing it lets you do is over here. Let me get a block. It gives you these additional options here of displaying by window size, by role, some animations, publishing the block and unpublishing the block. So basically scheduling blocks. Let's just do unpublishing settings. So we have to turn it on, and now we have this option where we could unpublish this block on a certain day and time, which is kind of cool. So we just reviewed this one last week, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that, but very powerful plugin that expands the capabilities of the block editor. That is called Snow Monkey Editor by Inc. 2734. And last but not least, one more of those link management plugins. We kind of started the best of roundup with one of these, and we're going to end with one of these. And this is TinyPress. Does very similar things to ClickWhale, but there is something that it does that ClickWhale doesn't, and vice versa. So ClickWhale, of course, gave us the ability to create those links and automatically link things throughout the site and so forth. This does that, but also the TinyPress does not give us the ability to have that link page for social media links, the stack of links. So if that's what you want, choose ClickWhale. But what TinyPress does, which I really like, is it gives you a QR code built right in. So we activate TinyPress, and where is it? Right up here. So here's just our basic link that we set up. And right here on the link information, we've got a QR code that is a graphic I can just drag off or click download or whatever. It also has categories. Like the other one, we can enable or disable a link. You can, oh, this is our pie calendar. We're going to leave that alone. We have all the options for links like we would expect. This one, though, does let us password protect links. So let's say you only want this short link to be used by certain people. So here's the link and use password, blah, blah, blah. In order to access that link, you have to fill in the password, which is kind of cool. You can have expiration on these also, and it does give you basic link analytics like the other plugin does as well. But really, the QR code is the thing that makes this one stand apart, which is kind of nice. So that is TinyPress by Plugin Bazaar, and that brings us to the end of our best of plugin roundup. What do you think, y'all? Let's do a best of the best of. What's your top favorite plugin of this best of roundup? I don't know if we'll ever do anything with those, but admin site enhancements, pie calendar, another admin. Let me hear from you. One vote only, please. Looks like admin site enhancements. Ben likes the fact block. Yeah, it looks like admin site enhancements is the runaway winner. Sure triggers as well, yeah. Oh, the question in the chat. I mean, I haven't tried it, but I would imagine this is going to the short link and not the actual link. Stock pack. Yeah, looks like admin site enhancements is the clear winner of the best of. Well, thanks for hanging out with me today. Tomorrow for members, we have the Fly course on finances, so we'll be ready for that. Pop open the Slack and make sure you just watch out for that link to join the special channel for the finances talk tomorrow. That'll be coming at 1 o'clock for members. And of course, office hours on Thursday for members as well. One thing I will mention, let me drop in the slide link one more time here. On June the 21st, so that's a week from tomorrow, we do have a town hall coming up for Solid WP. Matt Cromwell will be with us for that, where we will be talking about, whoops, didn't get all of them here. We'll be talking about all the things that are happening with Solid Academy and the Solid WP rebrand that will be launched later this year. Solid Academy is coming probably, I'm going to guess, August, September timeframe. So we'll have a town hall to answer all your questions with Matt Cromwell. That is a week from tomorrow. Make sure you sign up for that. The link is there in the chat. Well, thanks again for hanging out with me. Members, I'll see you back tomorrow for Fly, talking about finances here on iThemes Training, where we go further together.